Hi everyone! Strawberry flowers but no berries usually does not start with dead plants. It starts when everything looks promising. Flowers, baby berries, green leaves, but then the fruit stalls, shrivels, or never turns into anything worth picking. Today I'm showing you the biggest reasons strawberry flowers fail to turn into real berries, and the fixes that help the next round shape up properly, and the one helpful thing that's actually stealing your harvest without you even realizing it. One of the biggest reasons strawberry flowers never turn into real berries is poor pollination. And I get it. You walk out here, you see blooms everywhere, and it feels like the plant is finally doing what it is supposed to do. And you think, okay, finally, the strawberries are coming. Quick little side note here. There are different types of strawberries, and they produce at different times. June-bearing strawberries usually give one big flush of larger berries in late spring or early summer, while ever-bearing and day-neutral types produce more in waves throughout the season. So if your plant has already finished its normal harvest cycle, that's very different from the problems we're talking about today. Back to the flowers. They are only the starting point, and while those little petals fall off, the little center still has to swell into a berry, and that's where a lot of harvests start breaking down. Now here's where strawberries are very different from crops like cucumbers or squash. You're not looking for male flowers and female flowers with your strawberries. Strawberries don't work that way. Each strawberry flower already has male and female parts inside the same flower. So no, you don't have to figure out which flower is which or match the flowers up for pollination. But the pollen still has to move around inside that flower, and that's the part that decides whether you get a full berry or some tiny weird little thing that never amounts to much. Now, a strawberry flower can self-pollinate, but that does not mean that every flower automatically turns into a good berry. If pollen moves well across the center of the flower, the berry fills out better. But if only part of that flower gets pollinated, you can end up with a teeny tiny berry, a lopsided berry, or one that starts forming and never becomes worth picking. That's how your strawberry plants can be loaded with flowers and you still barely get any berries, which is super frustrating. So when you see blooms, don't count the harvest yet. Wait until the little tiny white petals fall off, and then look at the center of that flower. That little green center should start swelling into a berry. Now, if that berry stays tiny, turns brown, dries up, or starts forming into some kind of weird little half-formed berry like this one over here, I'm sure you've seen them in your strawberry patch, that means it wasn't pollinated properly. Now, you might wonder, why in the world aren't the bees handling this? Sometimes they're not there yet. Early in the season, it may still be cool, cloudy, windy, or rainy, like the cloudy day we're having today, and bees may not be moving through the garden much. Sometimes the strawberry flowers, too, are tucked down under the leaves where you can hardly see them. And if you can hardly see them, the pollinators are probably missing them, too. And sometimes there are just not enough other flowers nearby to pull bees into that part of the garden. Now, the good news is this is very fixable, and it does not have to turn into a whole hand pollination project. When the flowers are open, do 3 quick things. First, make the blooms easier to see. Lift the leaves gently and open the plant just enough so the flowers are visible. You're not tearing into the plant and destroying it. You're just making sure those flowers are not buried under the leaves. Second, put more flowers near your strawberries. This is super important all over your garden. If you have pots of alyssum, calendula, flowering cilantro, or flowering mustard greens, like I have over here, let some of them flower and put them closer to your strawberry plants. Now, you don't have to redesign your whole garden to do this. Just give the bees more reasons to work and come to the area where your strawberries are. Now, third, if the flowers are open and the bees are not doing much, move the pollen yourself. Super easy to do. The quickest way to do this is to gently flick or wiggle the flower stems while the flowers are open. And just that little movement helps move the pollen around, spreads it inside the flower so the berry starts filling out instead of forming small or lopsided. It's quick, simple, and you're done. Now, if you're already seeing a lot of misshapen berries, go one step further if you have the time. Just use a small paintbrush, cotton swab, or your fingertip and gently brush around the yellow center of a few fresh flowers. Now, you don't have to do it to every flower on every plant. That would take way too much time. Just hit the open blooms that you can reach, especially during that window when the flowers are open. Then check back in a few days. If that center is starting to swell, leave it alone. The flower is doing its job. If it turns brown, dries up, or just sits there, pinch it off and focus on the fresh open flowers instead. That is where the next berries are coming from. Get those blooms visible, get the pollen moving around while the flowers are open, and you'll give more of those flowers a real shot of turning into strawberries you actually get to pick. Another reason strawberry flowers never turn into good berries is inconsistent moisture while the fruit is trying to size up. And this is very different from the pollination problem we just talked about. With poor pollination, the berry usually looks wrong from the start. Tiny, uneven, lopsided, or even partially formed. But with the problem of inconsistent moisture, the berry starts out looking like it's actually going somewhere and forming. It forms, it has shape, and it looks very promising. And then it stops. It stays small, dries up at the tip, or never really sizes up. This is usually not a flower problem anymore, a pollination problem. That berry already started to form. Now the plant has to keep it growing. And this is where you need to move fast, because once a baby berry starts drying down, you are usually not saving that exact berry. You are saving the next ones coming behind it. Now, strawberries have very shallow roots. They are not reaching way down deep for backup water like a lot of other plants with deeper roots do. Most of the action is happening in that upper layer of soil, especially in containers. So if water runs off to the side, dries out too fast, or only wets part of the area around the plant, the leaves may still look fine, but the berries start showing the stress. And this is what makes this one so frustrating. You think, I watered, so why isn't the strawberry growing? Here's what to look for. Check the plant later in the day after the sun has been out for a while. Look at the soil around the strawberry and around the edge of the pot or the raised bed. If the soil is pulling away from the side, or if one area is drying out faster than another instead of soaking into the plant, that strawberry is not getting water where the roots actually need it. So for containers, pick up the pot after watering, and then again the next afternoon. If it already feels light after it's been watered, the pot is drying out way too fast while the berries are trying to grow. So the answer is not dumping on more water at once. It's getting consistent water to those shallow roots. For containers, this is why I like using the Mr. Landscaper patio kit with strawberries, because each pot can have its own individual adjustable dripper. And that really matters with containers, because how fast they dry out depends a lot on the size of the pot and where you have it sitting. A small container sitting in full sun is going to dry out a lot faster than a larger pot nearby, or one that's sitting in partial shade. Now for raised beds, I like to use the drip emitters because I can run the 1/4-inch line with a 6-inch spacing right next to the strawberry row. And with the new 6-inch closer emitter spacing, it works really well for strawberries because they are shallow rooted and planted closer together. So the moisture stays more even across the whole entire row instead of one plant getting water while another plant dries out. Then what I like to do is add a light layer of clean shredded straw or shredded leaves. That helps slow down the drying and gives the berries a cleaner place to rest instead of sitting right on the bare soil and rotting. But, little caution here, don't pile the mulch into the center of the plant. I'll show you why in the next section, because covering the wrong part of the strawberry plant can slow the next round of berries down too. Fix the watering while the next green berries are forming, and you give those strawberries a much better shot at actually sizing up instead of drying out halfway through. It's great having you here. I just want to invite you to subscribe and follow along. Thanks. Now let's look at a part of the plant you might skip right over because you're usually looking right to the berries and you might miss this one. But this part decides whether or not you're actually going to have berries, and that's the crown. So one of the biggest reasons why strawberry plants slow down or stop producing is because of a buried crown. And this one is super easy to do by accident. Now here, all these strawberry plants actually rooted from runners that grew from plants up there. So if you'll notice here, I have no strawberries here. And it's, like I said, it's super easy to do by accident. The runners grow, you add compost, you tuck in soil around the plants or mulch around the plants. All good things, unless you bury the strawberry crown. So let me show you exactly what I mean. The crown is this tight little center of the plant where all the stems come from. The leaves come from here. The flower stems come from here. And the next round of berries starts right here. So if the center gets packed under soil or mulch, the plant may not die right away. And this is what makes this one so confusing. It can still look green, like all my berries right here. It can even have flowers. But now the part that's supposed to keep pushing out fresh growth is staying too wet, too crowded, or too covered. And when the crown is stressed, The plant has a much harder time pushing strong new flower stems, which means fewer berries forming later. So look right here. The roots should be covered, like they are here, but the crown should still be visible. If mulch is packed down in the middle or soil is packed around the crown, pull it back and uncover it, clear away that soil. Now, if you can see roots, you definitely want to cover the roots, but stop before you cover the crown. It's super important. You want the roots protected and the center open. Now, this is why mulch placement matters so much with strawberries. Mulch is great around the plant. It helps hold moisture and keeps the berries cleaner, but it cannot be pushed into the center where the new growth comes from. That would be around the crown. Keep the mulch around the strawberry, not buried in the middle of it. And if a berry is sitting right on wet soil, slide a little straw or shredded leaves underneath it, just enough to lift that fruit off the dirt so it's less likely to rot before you get to pick it. That keeps the berry a lot cleaner without covering the crown again. Get that crown open back up, and now the plant can put its energy back into pushing fresh flowers and more berries, instead of fighting through a buried crown. Now here's that little helpful thing I mentioned at the beginning of the video that can start slowing down flowers and pulling energy away from berries. Runners. These are the long stems the strawberry plants send out with little baby plants starting to root on the end. And honestly, the runners can make you think the plant is doing amazing. Suddenly it's growing everywhere. You've got leaves popping up, runners stretching across the bed like mine all are here. And the whole thing looks big, full, and healthy. But meanwhile, you are wondering, just like I am, why you are still not getting many strawberries in that spot. And this is where runners can really throw you off. Because the plant is growing, just not necessarily in the direction you want it right now. The mother plant has only so much energy to work with. It's trying to push out flowers, size up berries, build roots, grow leaves, and make baby plants all at the same time. So if the runners are going crazy while flower production slows down, the berries stay tiny or the fruit production starts dropping off. The plant may be putting more energy into new plants than into making strawberries. So that's why you need to decide what your goal is with your strawberry plants. Do you want more plants later, or do you want more berries now? If your goal right now is fruit, cut the runners off as soon as you see them. Just follow the runner back to the mother plant and snip it cleanly. Don't yank it off because that can damage the plant. And once those runners are gone, the plant can put so much more energy back into flowers and berries instead of trying to spread everywhere. Now, if your goal is more strawberry plants, that's a little bit different. Let 1 or 2 strong runners root into a small pot or an open space nearby, and then pin it down with a bobby pin or a landscape staple so they stay against the soil. And then once they root, separate them from the mother plant. Now you have new plants without letting the whole bed turn into a tangled mess. So if your strawberry plant has flowers but no berries, don't give up on them. Put these fixes in place now, so more of those flowers turn into strawberries you actually get to pick. I'm really curious, which issue are you seeing in your garden right now? And tell me which one you're fixing first. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time in the garden. So good.